Tonight's topic is on superfoods, and very excited about tonight's talk especially. I've done the superfoods talk I think probably a dozen times over the years. I love the topic because in a way I am superfoods. What I mean by that is my cellular structure is made from superfoods. So literally I am superfoods, in the same way that other people are chicken potatoes. You've heard you are what you eat, right? It is actually true. Like, your cells are made from what you eat. And people still believe that what they eat just goes through them. You know, some goes through, but some gets absorbed. So superfoods, I'm going to get into in great detail. First have to establish the problem with the food chain, which is going to take me maybe 10 minutes if we can stick to time. Just to qualify why we need nutritional support today. And then I'll get into the superfoods, I'll run through a few of them, and then we'll take Q&A afterward. Okay. So to begin with, I'd like to start with a slide. Slides will work. Hello? There we go. Can everyone see that? So you're kind of just going to have to do this a bit. There's still a few chairs open in front here if you want to sit closer. I love my life, and at this particular day we were eating raw vegan cheesecake and chocolates and wheatgrass shots. All superfoods. Like, the cheesecake was made with superfoods, the chocolates were made with superfoods, wheatgrass is a superfood. You know, it's very easy to be a superfoodist. People think that somehow they have to radically change their diet or go on some restrictive regime. We have a lot of fun eating what we eat, so I have to be honest, it's not hard work. True. Another reason I put the slide up is just to make us aware of the amazing time we live in at the moment, where we have access to the stuff. Years ago, you couldn't get goji berries. If you wanted gojis, you had to be like in the Himalayas. You had to be a monk, mission out there. And I've been to where the gojis grow. It's not an easy place to reach. Like Mongolian deserts where nothing else grows. It's pretty intense. So we have a situation today where we have access to more information and more good food than ever before. Literally. So that's something really for us to be grateful for. And gratitude, I believe, is the key that can take us forward into a life of abundance, a life of joy, a life of bliss, a life of integration. Because unless we can be grateful for where we're at and what we have, we're really not going to be too worried. So for me, it's about gratitude. I am thankful every day that I have these superfoods to eat, that I have the amazing garden that I have to eat from, that I have the opportunity to share what I've discovered over the years with people. So I can rant on that for ages, but it's pretty cool. Moving on from here, I'm just going to mention a few quotes of people that have been into food and have understood that food is a key component in life for quite a while. This one you probably know, Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine, and let thy medicine be food. So that means both ways. When you're sick, eat food to heal you. And if you don't want to get sick, eat the right kind of food. Let's see which other one. I like the Dr. Roger Williams one. The body heals itself. And nutrition provides the resources to accomplish the task. So often people believe that I am saying that superfoods and or raw foods will heal you. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying your body is designed to heal itself. You just have to get out of its way and give it some of, the resources it needs to do it. That's all. And then my favorite, vitality and beauty are gifts of nature. Gifts for those who live according to its laws. Laws of nature. And those laws are really simple. What's growing outside? That's natural. Let's eat some of that. What comes in this weird packet that doesn't look like any food you've ever seen ever growing on anything? You're kind of going against the laws of it. And you can do that for only so long, and then problems. And that's what we're seeing today. We're seeing an epidemic of problems. We're seeing an epidemic of people getting sick because they are straying too far from the natural order of things. Somehow humans today think that we are not part of nature. We're somehow separate or different, or even above nature. In actual fact, we are nature. You know? There's no separation. It just appears to be one. And it's that apparent separation that I believe has separated us from our health. So what is the story with food? Why are we looking at getting things like superfoods in? I'll just mention a few stats, because a lot of people think that the stuff I say isn't backed up by research. It absolutely is. I find it laborious to go through all the research over and over again, but just a few points. 1997, 26 apples contain the same amount of iron as one apple in 1914. So today you've got to eat 26 apples to get the same amount of iron. Why? Because apples have been grown for a long time in the same soils without nutrients being put back into the soil, certainly not iron. So eventually there aren't minerals left in the soil. And then the food might look healthy, but actually it's completely mineral deficient. So you can eat that apple and you're like, I need more. And you eat another one, more, and another one. Whereas in 1916 you would eat an apple and you'd be like, that's it. My apple count for the day is done. You just didn't need any more apples. And now it's like apple juice. People have 10 apples in one glass of apple juice. It's just the body is craving real food and it's not getting it from this kind of stuff. There's a bunch more stuff. This one's interesting. Levels of trace minerals in fruit and vegetables have fallen up to 76% from 1940 to 1991. So yes, you still get the macronutrients, the carbs, the sugar, the protein, but it's the micronutrients that are lacking in the food supply today. And those are the ones that make us feel satiated, that give us long-term health and wellness and vitality. That's the key that's missing in the food today. I mean, I had someone, I think it was earlier today, said to me, she's talking to this old lady and she's like 80 and she drinks brandy, she still smokes, you know, she by no means, according to her, lives a healthy lifestyle, not according to, you know, what health people are saying today. I said, but what you don't understand is that the reason she's healthy is because she's 80. The person was like, what do you mean? I say, she was born in a time where when she ate food, it was real food. She was born in a time where she wasn't bombarded by thousands of chemicals on a daily basis. Very different time. People born in the last 40 years or so have a lot to deal with, a lot more. You know, and people born in the last 20 or 10 years, that is radical what kids are going through today. The amount of toxicity, the lack of nutrients in the food, radical. So it's a completely different ballgame now. It's almost like the older you are, the healthier you'll be, just because you were born there. What else have we got? So here's a potential solution. 41 published studies on organic crops. These are published studies. Showed that you have on average 27% more vitamin C, 21% more iron, 29% more magnesium, and 13% more phosphorus. So those are some of the major minerals in published studies. So already we're seeing organic food as a step forward towards real food. And for me, the stuff that was growing like 100 years ago, it was almost all organic because it was grown naturally. You know, what's happening today through mass agriculture is something that we've never seen before in food. It's a different type of food. That's what people don't realize. Like, well, we've had potatoes and, you know, steamed veggies our whole life. And my grandmother and my great-grandmother had it. I'm like, no, they ate different food. No, but they also had potatoes. No, they had different potatoes. They really did. You know, you look back then, I mean, 100 different potatoes. Now, maybe 5. It's all hybridized into sweeter varieties, mineral deficient varieties. So there's some numbers I got out of a book called Green for Life by Victoria Butenko. She just compared 5 foods and compared organic and non-organic and minerals. And if you look at the first line, that's total mineral ash. So the total differences in minerals. And you can see at least double to triple more minerals in the organic one every single time. What's interesting is when you get into trace minerals, you know, boron, manganese, these sorts of things, that's where the organic food really shines, because those are the minerals that generally almost never get put back in the soil. So you look at something like iron, you know, 10 to 227, that's 27 more times more. 20 to 94, 9 to 516. Tomatoes, 1 to 1,938. And so you want to eat 1 tomato or 2,000 tomatoes to get the same amount of iron. Spinach, 1 or 49 spinach leaves or 1,584 spinach leaves. So when people say to me like, but organic food, it's expensive. I'm like, seriously, it's not. It's actually so unbelievably cheap. Like, don't even think about the price, buy it, because that's the key. Yes, it doesn't have the pesticides, the herbicides, the fungicides, the larvicides, the toxins. That's already a pretty good reason to buy it. But if you're looking for nutritional value in food, organic is the only food that I believe exists. Anything else to some degree is an illusion. And it leaves you empty and leaves you wanting more. One of the other things to be aware of is that we are inundated in our world today with chemicals. We have 1,000 new chemicals added to our diet every year. About 700 synthetic chemicals are in the average person's body. 100,000 man-made chemicals exist in our environment. And these things were not there just a couple of decades ago. It's a massive experiment that we're putting ourselves through. And we're getting results. Those results are evident. There's more disease now than ever before. Yeah? But people don't know what's causing the disease. The official story is, we don't know what it is. Yeah? Well, start with the basics. Start with, are you being poisoned? Let's do a blood analysis. Wow, you have like 700 synthetic chemicals in your body. More than half of them are literally carcinogenic. Yeah, that could be a cause. Yeah? But a lot of this stuff is somehow too obvious and people don't see it. I don't know. The food industry purposefully strips out minerals and vitamins, essential nutrients. Why do they do that? So you eat more. Because if the minerals aren't there, you will not get satiated. Because your hunger is literally a body's call for minerals, vitamins, phytonutrients, enzymes, you know, the stuff we need from food. So if you pull that out and you make a product that seems like it's food, tastes kind of like it's food, makes your stomach full, well then you've really conned people. Because they're going to come back and buy more and more and more of your products. That's why you can have a bag of chips after a bag of chips after a bag of chips, but you can have a bag of kale chips and you're just done. That's it. 40 grams of kale chips and you're like, I'm full. Because kale is so nutritionally dense. Or 1 glass of green juice and you're full. It's like your hunger is gone. Because it's so nutritionally dense. So today there's so much food on sale but so little to eat. For these reasons. We can go into maybe why the situation exists. You know, there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there, or conspiracy facts out there. What I like to just stick with is it's financial. It's just financially motivated. You know, the company makes more money selling products that make people buy more of the same products. That goes for food, pharmaceuticals, oil, whatever it is. That's how they make more money. My business, Superfoods, is actually a very bad business model. Because I sell food that fills people up and they don't want more. Go figure. Anyway, I actually sell superfoods because I want to eat them. And that's how it started. I wanted to eat them myself. I had been eating them for years. And then people started asking me for them and then it just grew. That's how it started. So that's my motivation. And then obviously people feel so good having them that I'm motivated to keep selling them. Even though business itself is quite an interesting beast. So why is it that people don't know about healthy food? Advertising. There's way more money spent on advertising junk food than advertising health food. And most nutritional information people get is through TV, radio, newspaper, magazine advertising. Most of the information people actually get today is through the media. So they're not going to hear about healthy food. But you guys do hear about it, because you hear. This for me is a pivotal slide in considering health. And if there's one thing you take away from tonight, just remember this one. Because I get so many people telling me, yeah, but raw food isn't for everyone. And, you know, vegan isn't for everyone. And you've got to eat this and you've got to eat that. And I tried this, it didn't work for me. I'm like, no diet will work for everyone. It's absurd to consider it. We're all different. You know, we have different requirements. I have a different need for food tomorrow as I do today. It's always changing. You can't expect to eat the same stuff over and over and over again. But if you stick to these principles, at least you'll then know what constitutes food and what doesn't. And to me, it's simply eating high quality food. That means organic, ideally homegrown, which means mineral, nutrient rich. You want food, real food. Does it have the phytonutrients? Does it have the minerals? How has it been grown? And then you also don't want to kill the food or destroy those nutrients once you spend the money on them. Yeah, it's kind of silly. Like you go to the shop and you spend double the amount on organic celery as you do on non-organic celery, and then you take it home and you microwave the organic celery and you destroy all the nutrients in it. Like if you were going to do that, rather just get the non-organic one, you know. It seems silly. So low processing, low temperature cooking, and cut out the chemicals. We don't need any more chemicals. The raw pregnancy talk I did, I found a statistic of a study they did recently which showed that babies are born today with at least 284 toxic chemicals in their blood. Born. Like that's from cord blood samples. So this is the level that they're coming in with. They've got to deal with that. You know, many of us here, we have to detox, but that's because we started off with a pretty clean slate, and then we built up stuff. Imagine starting off with like mercury levels high enough to cause you to go into, you know, some kind of mental disorder. That's quite hectic. So that's the key for me with food. And I want to start from this point because going into superfoods, people can get kind of confused. They go like, okay, so now superfoods are good food. And I'm like, yes, of course they are. That doesn't mean other food isn't good food. You just need to know why the food would be good food. And for me, people ask me, what's more important, raw food or organic food? What do you guys reckon?
Organic.
Raw, organic. They're both important, but organic is more important. That's the truth. Because if you cook organic food with like water cooking, I'm not talking about microwaves, that's just ridiculous. But say you're steaming something. If you steam an organic mealie or corn, you're still going to have a good deal of nutrition left once you boiled it or steamed it. If you steam a non-organic one or eat a non-organic one raw, there's very little there to begin with anyway. So your net, even with a steamed one, is going to be higher than your net with that non-organic raw one. And that's very important to realize, because often people get into things like juicing, and they juice non-organic stuff all the time, and they're just not getting the benefit that they would be getting if they were using organic produce. It really does make the difference. Obviously doing them both together, for me, is just efficient. I don't want to waste the nutrients, so I'll have it organic and raw. But it doesn't mean you can't be healthy if you cook some of your organic food. Okay, just wanted to clear that one. So let's get into superfoods then. So superfoods are in a sense, a different class of foods. They are somewhere between functional foods and herbal medicine. Functional foods are foods that you would eat on a daily basis for nutritional value, like your carbs and your fats and your proteins and that kind of stuff. It comes with different nutrients. Herbal medicine would be things that you would consume on occasion if you're feeling you need a boost of some kind. If you're ill or if you're down or one of your systems needs a boost. Normally a herbalist or a nutritionist will tell you have this. Now superfoods are somewhere in between because they have the nutritional and healing potential of herbal medicine, but they're edible in the way that functional everyday foods are edible. Think of a goji berry. I mean, you can have a handful of gojis a day. It's a functional food. Heck, you could eat the whole bag of goji berries if you really wanted to. They're functional foods. I don't really see them as supplements because that word is used today for chemicals. And I don't want you to be confused. Supplements are things that are usually synthesized in some way or are nature identical. They're not foods. These things are foods. So often people will say, well, they're a supplement to a diet. They're an addition to a diet. Initially, yes, that can be the case. You can be just adding these to your diet, so they're supplementing to your diet. But in effect, they aren't themselves supplements. They're food. They're functional foods. I would say my diet now consists of around 40%, maybe even 50% superfoods, and has done for a few years. So when I say that I am superfoods, I truly am. And I've been eating superfoods for over 7 years. And that's how long it takes for your body to go through a 100% cell change. So every 7 years you have a new body. So literally my body has been built from superfoods for the last 7 years. And it feels kind of cool. I have to say, the body I had before the 7 years started is a different body. Didn't work so well. Didn't work nearly as well. So these foods are foods of incredible nutrient density. They have been revered by ancient cultures for thousands of years. Ancient cultures from around the world, which is where they come from. So you've got things like goji berries from the Himalayas. You've got things like aloe from Africa. You've got spirulina from central regions. You've got baobab from Africa. You've got hemp from northern regions. You've got chia seeds, all central. Cacao, also central, jungle regions. And then maca from high plateau of the Andes. Now, what I'm going to talk about tonight are just some of the superfoods. There are many other foods that are incredibly nutrient dense that can also be classified as superfoods. It's obviously a very loose classification. There's no board deciding what is a superfood and what isn't. You've got to use your discretion, a bit of your own, consciousness around this. I've seen articles where people, say that, salmon is a superfood. And if you caught the salmon wild in the mountains yourself and ate it raw, I would say for sure superfood. But the stuff you buy today is far from it because it's all farmed. It doesn't have the nutrients in it. It's full of chemicals, full of toxins, damaging the environment. I can't call that a superfood. Although it could have the potential to be one. And so there's a big range of foods we can consider. But I'm going to pick on just a few of them that I've been using and that we have been selling and getting benefit and feedback from people who use them. And then if you guys have got questions about other superfoods, we can go through that at the end.